It's time to talk fantasy football. It's time to let them know. Where you let us crunch the numbers while you crush the competition. So grab your playbooks and crack a cold one, because here's your hosts, Teak and Baney.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the podcast. Teak, Badge, and Baney here to bring you the next mailbag question, then moving on to the starts and sits. Guys, it was an interesting week of football. I know we touched on that bunch in our previous episode. Guys, again, what did you think? I know a lot of interesting facts popped up with certain players we didn't think were going to show out that showed up during week 4.
Yeah, Teak. Interesting is a perfect word for these first 4 weeks. I mean, thing that stood out to me, AFC North. How interesting is that? Everyone thought it was going to be a dominant division. I don't know. There's some stuff going on all over the place. So crazy.
Yeah, man. I didn't expect for rookie quarterbacks to be taking the steps that they are, and it's not the ones that were drafted first overall. So there's that, and I think we owe an apology to Baker and the Bucks. They're looking decent. So yeah, very surprising week. Can't wait to see what we get into this week.
Do I need this?
Might have to hold
Not
on
yet.
to it.
Not yet. Too soon.
We're going to get on to the mailbag segment here.
Mail time.
All right, we're going to get in the mailbag segment here. We have another video entry from a Jason Lindy. I'm going to run the tape, guys, and we're going to start off with Baney. All right, but let's get to the tape.
Hey, Let 'em Know podcast. This is Jason here. My question is, who are you going after in your leagues right now that you want to trade for and try and buy low on?
All right, guys, so you heard him. Just to go over it one more time for you guys. A player you would trade for but buy low for, basically, to sum up his question.
So I'm gonna give you two names that are gonna surprise you. Kupp and Jonathan Taylor. So Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor. This might be your last week that you could get them at this price. It's a big swing. It's a big ask. However, it's a lot of risk still. We don't really know if they're still gonna play. We don't really know if Kupp's injury is, what it's been made up to be, all the lore. And we don't know if Taylor and Irsay are going to explode tomorrow. We don't know what that's going to turn into. However, if you can pull a deal off, you maybe give up something, and these guys actually play. That's different. That's a league-winning trade possibly for you. But like I said, this is the last week that they'll be at this price. If they play and they exceed expectations and they're healthy, they're either not going to be able to be traded for, or you're going to have to give up the ship for them. So that being said, yeah, those are my two. Might not be realistic. However, if you can pull it off, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, good call on Kupp because those guys probably took him within the first 6 rounds. So I mean, if they're losing, you might be able to do something. For me, mine is a guy who he missed 2 games ago, Jalen Waddle. So he was out with a concussion. This week against Buffalo. I'm trying to snipe him from a guy in our league right now, Take. Hopefully he's not going to watch this episode, but so he was out 2 weeks ago with a concussion. Didn't put up a lot of points against Buffalo. I mean, I thought he would. I thought he was going to score against Buffalo, but he did not. I thought it was going to be more of a offensive. We're going to see more from Miami, but I'm trying to take him from this guy. I mean, fantasy players are emotional, especially if they're losing. So Jalen Waddle is a guy you might be able to snag. 2 bad weeks. That's what I'm going to go for.
Yeah, I'm on that same ship. My 1000%. Mine was Jalen Waddle as well. Like you said, owners do panic. He hasn't gone over 12 fantasy points so far in this season, so that's going to raise some red flags. He had that abdomen injury before the season. Combine that with the fantasy points, people are going to panic. But we know what he can do on the field, and he's been targeted average 5 times per game. The yards are definitely there as well. It's just he's not grabbing touchdowns. So if some players ain't looking at the bigger picture where like we are with the yards and the targets are there, the receptions are there, they might panic a little bit. You can buy him low, I believe. So yeah, I'm on that same boat.
Oh, yeah, that offense is too powerful. I mean, I'm gonna try and snipe him. If you can too, do it. Trying to give up
So,
Garrett for him.
guys, is there anybody right now you'd be willing to overpay for? Anybody that comes into mind at all? I mean, outside of the superstars that probably maybe won't get traded unless they're on a team that's 0-4. Anything that comes to mind that
Uh
maybe you would be willing to give up the ship for?
yeah, you mentioned Cup. Um I'm on the other end of this. I'm gonna pay higher for Puka. I don't think Cup's gonna come back and make a difference right away. I really don't. And that injury can be season long too. So you might have Puka for way longer than you will have Cup for, in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I would overpay for Justin Jefferson right now, especially if he's on a losing team. I mean, that guy is consistent in and out, 150 yards every game. I think he's gonna break 2K. But yeah,
Yeah, like you said, fantasy players are desperate, man. If they start losing, start panicking, especially a money league, they might be desperate, do something crazy. I could see it. I could see it for sure.
emotions.
But that does wrap up our mailbag segment. Again, we do appreciate you guys sending those. Keep them coming. We do obviously one per week. Um, or we might do one per episode if you guys ramp those up even more for us. But we're gonna move on here. We're gonna go straight in to the starts here. Around the horn. You know how it goes. QBs, Fanny. Who you starting this week at the QB position?
Yeah, so rookie sensation, CJ Stroud. Um I slandered the pick on draft day. Ohio State quarterbacks never pan out, never do anything. I think there was an Ohio State fan at the draft, and I listed each quarterback straight down the road and I said Stroud was going to be on this list. However, completely opposite results. He's averaging 303 yards passing per game. He's got 62% completion percentage. He's actually number fourth in the league right now in yards, just over 1,200. And they're throwing the ball a lot. Even in blowouts, they're throwing the ball a lot. For a rookie quarterback, he's averaging almost 38 attempts a game. And like I said, that's those games where he's winning by 20 plus. Steelers game. And there's only 3 quarterbacks right now in the league without an interception. Can you name the other 2? CJ Stroud is 1. Can you name the other 2?
Trying to think
I'll
about
give
it
you
real quick.
I'll
I
give
I,
you
I
one
wasn't playing for this.
I'll give you a quick hint. Mike absolutely loves this guy, and he plays maybe in California. Purdy.
Brock
Brock
Purdy.
Purdy's 1.
Yeah,
Rock out with the Brock out.
The other guy is somebody we also owe an apology to on this, and that is Josh Dobbs.
Josh
Has not thrown an
Dobbs. Wow.
interception this year. So those are the 3 guys we're talking about right now. But CJ Stroud, man, I looked on the waiver wire yesterday or last night actually, and I was very surprised on various different apps, different formats, all that stuff. He is weirdly available. And like I said, number 4 in passing yards. Throws the ball a lot. What's not to love, man? They're not shying away from him, and they're an aggressive young team right now. He's making guys super relevant. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Robert Woods. I mean, those aren't guys that you think are elite wide receivers by any means, but they're burning people, and he is getting them the ball, and he looks incredible. I can't say better things about him. C.J. Stroud, that's my start this week.
Yeah, last week I'm glad he wasn't my sit-em because, I mean, Tomlin, he is notorious for owning rookie quarterbacks. If you guys look at that history, I mean, he just absolutely just beat the brakes off of us. I mean, that game, I did not have fun. So this is questioning, should Bryce have been number one or CJ been number one? So, Teak?
I just don't like how the previous episode we're betting against the Falcons. This episode we're betting against the Falcons. I don't like the trend. But I'm gonna add
Who
on.
bet against him?
Huh?
Who bet against him last episode?
You did.
Last episode?
You got Houston. Yeah, you got Houston plus 2.5, or was it 2?
Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you were talking about last week. Yeah,
Nah.
this last episode. Yeah, dude, I apologize. I was searching in and out for you, Teak. I was searching. I didn't want to do it.
We're just gonna gang up on me this week. It's fine. It's well deserved for the Falcons. Just to go off C.J. Stroud, he's also my start this week. I just want to make you guys feel bad a little bit. He has the highest. I don't know if you guys know this. I've seen this on X, but he does have the highest passer rating versus man coverage this season. It's 139.4. That's incredible. And guess what defense the Falcons run? Man coverage. So this is going to be another great game for me to watch, sit back, relax on a Sunday before I buckle up and go to work Monday. But I don't think you guys also know he's actually making history right now. Stroud.
Yep.
With his passing yards through the first 4 games. Do you know the guys that is in front of him? The guy that is behind him? As rookies?
I think Herbert is up there, if I recall.
Cam Newton is number 1 for passing
yeah,
yards.
Cam. Yep.
Followed by C.J. Stroud. And then behind C.J. Stroud is Andrew Luck.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Yep.
Not bad company.
Not bad company. The only difference is between all 3 of them, C.J. Stroud doesn't have no picks whatsoever, like Bainey mentioned.
151 pass attempts, no interceptions.
Cam had 4, and Andrew Luck had 5. So he's making history, and Ohio State fans are finally saying thank you. The curse might be broken of QBs in the NFL.
Yeah, boys, he's doing this with an absolutely decimated O-line too, by the way. Larry Tunzel hasn't played. I mean, they're on all backups right now. This guy is moving and grooving, and yeah, last week sucked, but shout out to Stroud.
But those were our 2 starts, Badge. Who do you have starting at the QB?
All right, so I gotta back my chair out in case this door swings open here. So this Miami defense, and take last night's game, throw it out the window. Okay, I'm going strictly matchup again. This Miami defense looks terrible against the pass. I'm going Danny Dimes. Okay, I'm starting him. Here's why. I mean, this defense is nowhere near the receiving core. I mean, and when they are, I mean, you guys see Diggs miss 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this guy should have been tackled. They do not wrap up. They do not finish plays. This Miami pass defense is so bad. I expect a lot of garbage time plays. Now, I know Miami's going to dominate it, but Danny Dimes is going to have to throw. There's this run game's going to go out the window within the first 10 minutes. So I'm taking Danny Dimes. My stardom. It's going to be a shootout. He's going to have to keep up. I mean, this Miami defense again. God. Pass it back to Bainey.
So the only thing I think that's going to salvage your pick, there's 3 things. I think that the Dolphins are going to be up by 1 million, probably by the second quarter. And the game script is going to be, they're going to have to throw the ball a ton to stay in the game. 2, hopefully Barkley's back. I mean, if Barkley's not back, this offense goes nowhere. Dump offs obviously help frees him up a lot. Yeah, and the third is I think his contract. Like I think that they're gonna have to prove that he is worth what they paid him. I mean, I think they hit the panic button and paid this guy way too much money, and he proved that he laid an egg against Seattle. And like you said, man, the Dolphins' defense nowhere near as good as that. Um, and I think that there might be enough passing volume, game script wise, to warrant a start this week, especially in DFS. I mean, he might not have any draft exposure. I mean, his rushing always gives him some value, but he might. People might be ready to fade Danny Dimes, and you might be early to the party. This is a matchups game, so I don't hate the pick.
I'm just not a Danny Dimes fan, um, whatsoever. Um, as far as like, I don't know how you guys take on the whole Barkley situation. These guys who want to get paid, shows that there is value for him, but at the same time, can make that case for him. He's not on the field anyway because he's hurt. So which way do you guys look at that? Because obviously Danny Dimes' numbers improve with Barkley on the field.
Yeah,
Barkley is
Quadzilla,
that offense.
Quadzilla.
Yeah, I mean he's that offense. He is like 70% of what that offense productivity is, and when he's not there, it holds the whole entire place hostage because they can't do anything without him. Danny Dimes, he should have been the one that got franchise tagged. Barkley should have got paid. It's unfortunate the play where he rolled his ankle up on. I mean, it can happen to anybody, but it just sucks that it's him.
Yeah, but moving on to the running backs here, Baney, who do you have at the running back position?
So going with the hometown boy. We're going with James Conner this week. Um, might have 100 yards. Might win a prize fight after the game. We saw him, that little tussle there after the sideline. We like that. But yeah, dude, the Bengals are a dumpster fire right now. Defense can't stop a runny nose, man. They gave up 173 yards rushing this week, gave up 71 the week before that, 178 the week before that, and 206 in week one. Um, I think James. I think James gets a lot of total offensive yards this week. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry right now, and they're not really using him in the pass game. I don't know if you've noticed that. In years past, he usually gets a lot of targets, a lot of productivity in that, especially in a PPR league, makes him really valuable. They're really using him as a bell cow right now and just running the ball. All that being said, um, the Bengals offense can't stay on the field. Burrow can't move. He can't do anything. I think we're going to see a lot of Cardinals offense. And it's an offense that I know that they lost to San Francisco last week, but they had like a 95-yard drive where they went straight down the field and scored on probably the best defense in football. The Bengals don't have anything that resembles the best defense in football. And the Cardinals are playing hard. I think James Conner could have a sneaky 20-plus fantasy point week this week. Definitely think he's going to score for sure. So that's my take. I know I faded him at the beginning of the year, but I faded that whole team, to be honest with you. And they've shown up every week. And, JC said at the beginning of the year that they were going to surprise people. He did an interview where he kind of got laughed at by a lot of people. And he's proven him that they're showing up to fight every week, figuratively and literally. So that's my pick this week, James Conner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I faded that entire team. I think we all faded that entire team. I think a lot of people did. This is not a team that's going to just lay over and die, as we've seen. I mean, you mentioned Josh Dobbs, no picks. I mean, James Conner's running hard. I mean, this guy, he's going to put up some points. So, wish I would have had this knowledge when we had the draft, but sorry for doubting. And yeah, don't hate it. Teak?
I believe before the season started, I believe I gotta pull it back up. I made the comparison when Kyler Murray was not on the field to when he is in James Conner's production. His production goes up tremendously when Kyler Murray is not on the field. And he's shown that. And Josh Dobbs is a serviceable QB. I don't think I can ever say nothing bad about the hometown guy ever, um, on or off the field for that matter. But yeah, I like the start. And actually, just to play off you here, I got the other side of this game. I got Joe Mixon as my starter. So Cardinals are third worst against the run. T. Higgins out. I believe, like you said, Joe Burrow's banged up. I believe Mixon's going to get a whole lot more work with Higgins being out in the passing and running. But that's my take on that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, Joe Mixon, this is going to be his game. So I'm just going to keep it short, pass it to Baney.
Yeah, he's sneaky having a good year, and he was somebody I was not very high on after last year, and then in the offseason, it sounded like he wasn't really going to be on the team. He's proven he is very much alive and well and producing every week. You got to go with the numbers, man. I mean, you get a matchup against third worst. You got to capitalize on that, especially when you got a quarterback who can't take a 5-step drop. Got to bail him out somehow. Why not with Mixon?
Yeah, fantasy all about the numbers.
And moving on to your running back badge.
So back to the numbers. I'm going Breece Hall against the Broncos. So the Broncos have given up 170 rush yards per game to running backs. I know a big chunk of that was with Miami, but if you take that game out of the equation, it's about 120. I'm still not sold on Zach Wilson. I think they're going to pound the rock. Breece is going to rip. We're going to see some big chunk gains like we've seen all year. I mean, this guy's going to have his game this year. So my start of the week, running back Breece Hall.
Dude, I love it. I was this close to setting this place on fire and picking Zach Wilson as my stardom QB this week, just off of waiver wires.
Not a bad week.
It's solely because of how bad this Denver defense is. Pair that with the fact that Dalvin Cook is exactly what Minnesota thought he was, an aged running back that is not good anymore. Breece Hall should be getting way more touches and way more targets. I think he is an asset in the pass game. I think that they could really expose Denver this week. I think that Zach Wilson has another good game. I think Breece Hall gets activated this game, and I think it makes you look like a genius. So, Breece Hall, he's been mentioned as a start and a fade. Now back to a start on this podcast. Just shows you it's all matchup based. It's all dependent upon what is changing in a week-to-week basis. And I think Breece Hall is getting closer to looking really healthy. I think in Buffalo he looked gassed. He was having huge runs, but he looked gassed at the end. And then he didn't really get used at all when Teak, was it you that faded him a couple weeks ago? And he had like 4 yards of productivity. And we're back to starting him again because Denver's terrible. Their defense is god-awful. There's nothing else to say. Teak, how do you feel?
I just mentioned those 2 games back to back. His productivity was high one week, then it was nothing the next, and I don't know what's going on over there. The play calling, he was frustrated he didn't get the ball during that game. I don't know. I mean, Zach Wilson did have a nice game through the air. I thought he was putting on the receivers. I don't know if I can trust that offense. But the matchup says play him. Play him. The numbers are there. So
The motor is warming up.
but
Breece
moving
Hall.
on to the receivers, Baney.
So we talked about him a little bit already. Puka Nacua. It's not necessarily a plug to just start him this week. I put him in here so we can talk about more of a season-long aspect of Puka. You mentioned it perfectly earlier. When Cup comes back, don't run away from this guy. I think he is earned his role in this offense. I don't think his target share is on accident. this kid is so good. He was the number 1 PFF graded rookie receiver coming into the draft. He did that because he's very good. He had a little bit of an injury bug in college, ran a 4.6 40, and then people all of a sudden decided he wasn't going to be a good receiver. Cooper Kupp also ran a 4.6 40, and his career turned out just fine. We've talked about it at length. That being said, Philly secondary's back to, well documented. Philly's secondary's back to being dinged up again, man. We're losing safeties right and left.
You just signed a corner.
We just signed a corner in Roby from the Saints. We love getting the Saints throwaways and turning them into Pro Bowlers, so we'll see if that turns out. But that being said, man, we saw it last week against Sam Howell. The secondary looks rough, dude. And I think Puka is way better than any receiver that Washington had. And Washington diced us up. And I think Stafford's a way better quarterback than Howell. That being said, Puka went from waiver wire hero to dark horse rookie of the year. I don't think that that's crazy to say. CJ Stroud might run away with this, but he's got 39 catches in 4 games. That's 10 more than A.J. Brown this year. He's got 501 yards receiving. It's almost 100 more than A.J. Brown this year. He's got a 33% target share. He's number 4 scoring wide receiver in PPR formats. Justin Jefferson, Diggs, and I think Hill are the only names above him. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to, if he's on your roster, you're starting him. It's not a question. I mean, you're not going to not start Puka, but my whole reason for putting him on the list is drown out the Kupp noise. You're going to start Puka all year. Don't talk yourself into a trade. We talked earlier, you said you would be willing to overpay for him. There's a reason people are going to be willing to overpay for this kid. He's the truth. If you got him in a dynasty format, you're set for a while. So that's my advice. This whole thing is just don't run away. Don't sit him for Kupp. Don't trade him. Just keep riding this ride because you struck gold with this kid. So, Badge, how do we feel?
Yeah, that's gold, baby. I mean, rookie of the year, dude is making a case. I mean, the guy has 1 touchdown. Fantasy, week 1, 23 points. Week 2, 32 points against the Niners. 20 targets against the Niners. 33 points against Indy, where he got his first touchdown in overtime. I mean,
Game winner.
This guy, oh my God. This guy could be a league winner, and I don't think anyone saw it coming. So, rookie of the year case for sure. So, Teak?
Yeah, I like the pick as well. Just to go off mine, I got actually Tutu Atwell starting. So I'm on kind of the same boat Baney's on. I just think with the addition I just seen as well with the cornerback coming to Philly, I believe they're going to shadow him this week. That's why I picked Tutu. They are 3rd worst against the pass. So it's no stats don't lie. You see it in every game right now. They're having trouble with it, and one of these guys is going to flourish.
Yeah, I mean, I chose to fade Jahan Dotson last week, and all he did was almost freaking cost us the game because Sam Howell was just Dyson, man. City Brown's out, Hall's out. It's not looking great. We have youth outside of, and they're playing Bradbury in the nickel, which is not his spot. He usually plays the number 2, and I don't know, man. I don't know. If the pass rush doesn't get home, it's a long day. It's a long game. Every game is sweaty by the end of it. I shouldn't complain because they keep winning, but it's not the way that they should be winning. But yeah, I think Rams receivers this week are going to be hard to watch. Hard to watch for your boy.
All right, Badge. You're a wide receiver in week 5.
Oh, this is crazy, boys. If you're looking at my list a month and a half ago, we're looking at all. It looks like a sit-em list. So I'm going a guy who is going against a defense who is one of the worst in the leagues, giving up 200 yards in the pass game. I'm going Michael Pittman against the Titans. I mean, this pass defense is horrendous. The run defense, another story, very good, one of the best. But this pass defense, if you take out that Bengals game, I mean, Joe Burrow's not the same, but this pass defense has been bad. Pittman and Richardson, they look to establish a connection early on. Week 1, Pittman went off. I faded him. I faded the guy. This guy's a lot of talent. Richardson's back. I think he's going to ball out. They got that connection. Pittman's very talented. Great value here on FanDuel. Shout out. Give us a sponsorship. $6,600 this guy is against this defense in FanDuel. So I love Pittman at home with this matchup against the Titans pass defense. Love it. Baney?
I don't know if my pride will let me take back my takes of Pittman, but man, he is direct benefit of there simply being nobody else on this team. He's kind of showing you. Is it Downs? Is that his name? I
Yep.
think the slot receiver there.
North Carolina.
He's having a nice little season. But man, Pittman is just. Alec Pierce is not who they hoped he was going to be. The tight ends are wishy-washy. I think Mo Alley Cox was supposed to be a lot better than what he is producing. But yeah, man, they need 10 yards, they go to Pittman. They need 15, they go to Pittman. It's inevitable. So I think it's a great start. I think you should start anybody playing the Titans secondary. It's just a bad look. I think Jamar would have. Oh man, he should have went off last week, but Joe can't move, so I think Pittman's gonna reap some benefits this week for sure.
Yeah, during draft day, some leagues I got a lot of pushback for drafting Pittman
You did. I was there. I was there.
over some second wide receiver twos for some reason, and it was the answer you just gave me. The only one there. He's wide receiver 1. So why would you? It's not like he's a bum either. So I don't know why you would pass up on a number 1 option for a number 2, especially with his caliber of talent. Just like everybody faded Mike Evans this year because of the QB. It's the same boat. Besides last game, he had a down week. He was on pace for 11 targets per game. It's incredible. So I like the start too. But moving on and finally finishing up with the tight ends, Baney.
Yeah, so probably a waiver wire guy for most people, but I think this is a position where people are streaming. To be honest with you, if you don't have the top 3 or 4 guys, you are probably rotating this. I know I am a victim to this as well, and that is going to be Logan Thomas this week. Logan's averaging 10 yards a catch in every single game. The Bears defense has given up about 268 passing yards per game. It's not good. A lot of which have gone to the tight end, week in, week out. And to be honest with you, Hal is not afraid to pepper this kid with targets. Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator there. We've all seen he's done with Kelsey in that offense. I mean, a lot of that's Mahomes as well. But, I mean, he's writing up a good offensive script for this Commanders team. I think the only thing you have to worry about is if they score too much early and then they just run the ball with Robinson and Antonio. But I could see Logan Thomas scoring a touchdown in this game. I could see him getting 6-7 targets. Yeah, I just Bears defense is one of the teams that if you got to stream any position, I would take it 10 out of 10 times. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to take advantage of this week is that tight end matchup against that defense. So, Badge, how do we feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute mess in Chicago right now. I mean, it's a bummer because, do I got to mention it? Justin Fields, we were big on, but we won't go there right now. Yeah, anyone I'll stream against this defense. I could see a touchdown all day. Logan Thomas has a lot of talent. The only question was his health for me. But, I mean, the guy's healthy right now, so I could see 60 yards TD. That's a start for me. Peak.
Yeah. Anybody against this Bears defense, I like to start. It's god awful. You're gonna get ball on a ton, or whatever offense is playing. Is their offense is not very good either. So they're gonna see the ball more, which equals more targets for guys you're playing against them. So
Yeah, so for my tight end, start him. I mean, it's been tough outside of Kelsey with tight ends because no one's. It seems like it's been a blah position. Am I right, guys? Other than Kelsey, maybe Waller too here and there, but I mean, in other words, not
Hawkinson.
flashy. Hawkinson. Okay, for little Laporta too,
Yep.
but it hasn't been flashy outside of these top 3. So I'm trying to get something that like Baney said is going to get 60 yards and a touchdown, little stream start. Sorry, Baney, I'm going Tyler Higbee against the Eagles. I think he can squeak out 60 yards and a touchdown. Eagles give up 65 yards against opposing tight ends per game. So I'm playing the home matchup against the Eagles. Again, it's not flashy. I'm just going a little stream start, little FanDuel, DraftKings lineup. Taking Tyler Higbee as my stardom.
I mean, week 1, you saw what the Patriots did with their tight ends against this Eagles defense. I mean, it's. I think Logan Thomas had a decent week last week against this defense. So, yeah, man, it's a safe start. Like I said, let's not get it twisted. I think that the Eagles probably get out to a lead and the Rams are chasing, but even if the Rams aren't chasing, they're going to throw the ball. They're not scared to let Stafford rip that thing 45 times, and his arm looks great this year. Higbee's not a bad start at all against this defense. It's a banged-up secondary. Linebackers are not up to snuff, I don't think. I mean, definitely not in the pass game. Run game, different conversation, but, man, they're giving up a lot of passing yards. So Higbee's a good start, especially a good stream.
yeah, I got Higbee as well this week. I think, like you said, the Rams are going to throw it a bunch. I think they're going to be playing catch up as well. So, with them to do that, they're going to have to toss that ball around too. So, he's also my start.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me is that Eagles pass rush. That thing is brutal. But give me 60 in the TD. I'll be happy.
So, we basically have all the Rams offense basically heading the week. Yeah,
All the
Puka,
pass catchers.
yep, Tutu, and Higbee.
Oh, dang.
But that wraps up our stardoms. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the situms. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Let 'Em Know Fantasy Football Podcast. Join our community and follow us on all socials, or keep up with the episodes on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.